Hi, I'm John with Biscuit Tree Woodworks. Today I'm going to show you how to make these simple but beautiful walnut pencil holders. Now these make excellent gifts, or you can turn around and sell these for a good profit. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video and I'll give you some pricing strategies on how to sell these. Now let's get started. This is a great project for using up some of the scraps that always seem to accumulate. I've got some walnut that's a little over 4 inches wide and a couple of small strips. One is maple, it's about 3/8 of an inch wide, and another piece of walnut that's about 1/4 of an inch wide. For the glue up, I'm putting the piece of maple between the two pieces of walnut. I've got another piece of maple that I'm just going to use as a caul to help distribute the clamping pressure. After the glue's set up, I pull everything out of the clamps, and then I'll take my random orbit sander to remove the glue squeeze out and clean up any high spots. Next, I'll head over to the bandsaw and resaw this board in half. This gives me 2 identical boards to work with and will double the number of pencil holders that I can make. Now I'll run both boards through the thickness planer to remove all of the bandsaw marks and get them down to the final thickness of 1/4 of an inch. Next, we're going to cut a shallow groove into each board so that we can use a piece of plywood to make the bottom. You want to cut this groove about 1/8 of an inch deep and about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the board. And once you've done this with both of your boards, do the same thing with a piece of scrap. Then bump the fence over a little bit and run it through again, widening the gap. Test the fit with your piece of plywood and make sure it's not too loose. Once you've got a good fit, run your boards back through to make a groove. While the boards are still in one piece, take this opportunity to sand up to 150 grit. The sides of the pencil holders are 3 inches wide, so I set a stop block up on my table saw sled to start cutting these down. You could also do this over at the miter saw. And next we'll take the table saw blade down to 45 degrees so that we can cut the miters. Now that the sides of our pencil holders are done, it's time to make the bottom. For that, I'm going to use this piece of walnut plywood. I'm going to cut this down to fit into the groove that we made earlier. All right, so now it's time for the glue up. To do this, instead of clamps, I'm going to use the blue tape trick. To do this, I just need a straight edge clamp to my bench to keep everything aligned and a roll of blue painter's tape. With the pieces up against the straight edge and the outside facing up, we just stretch the blue tape across the seam. Once you've added tape to each of the joints, we just flip the whole piece over and start adding our glue. Now just fold up the sides and hold everything together with another piece of tape. In just a few minutes, we've got everything glued up and taped together, and the best part about this method is you don't have to worry about running out of clamps. Alright, so a quick tip for removing glue from the inside corners of your projects is keep these little disposable drinking straws on hand. Just run it right down the inside corner. And it'll remove the glue. After the glue is dried, I add a small chamfer to the top and bottom of each pencil holder over at the router table. And now for a final sanding up to 180 grit. Now I'm finishing this project with Osmo Pollux oil and a clear satin finish, and I'm using a white Brillo pad to really drive the oil into the wood. Now this is an expensive finish, but a little bit goes a long way, and for most projects you only need 1 coat. I've probably used this 1 can on at least half a dozen projects already. Just keep working the oil into the wood and wipe off the excess when you're done. That's how I made these walnut pencil holders, but don't be afraid to change things up a bit and really make it your own. You can change the design, or these would look really great in cherry or oak as well. Now, as I said earlier, these make excellent gifts, but if you do plan to sell these, your local market may vary, but I would post these at around $20 to $25 a piece. Now, if you own a laser engraver, CNC, or Cricut, anything that you can offer a personalization to add someone's initials, a name, anything like that, that is a great way to add another $5 to $10 on the sale, because that's going to really set you apart and add a little something that no one else has. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's project. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see next. In the meantime, please go check out this video right over here.